Hey there, fellow astronauts. Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of a new series covering Stationeers. If you would like to skip the game's overview or the detail about this series, please use YouTube chapters. Stationeers is a survival game where you pit your engineering skills against impending death. It is a game about construction and management of habitats in space or on planets, which contain complex atmospheric, electrical, manufacturing, engineering, and agricultural systems. I'll be playing on the hardest difficulty, Stationeer, on the hardest start, Brutal, on the hardest planet, Vulcan. So, yeah, this will be brutal. Just to make it worse, I am not using any mods, and I'm not using any IC code, just like I did for the marathon, for the added difficulty. Trade is allowed, but I'm not going to trade for anything that I can't manage to source myself. So, like, only trading for seeds, meaning I can't, like, just buy my way through oxygen and water. There's no ultimate goal of the series, just the ever-present need to survive. I'm going to attempt to survive without save-scumming or using creative mode, but there might be times where such measures are unavoidable. Before I start, it's worth talking about the scenario a bit. So, new world. I am going to be in Etna's Fury, which is a cracked, flat plain above the lava tunnels overlooking distant volcanoes. Now, some things about Vulcan. Vulcan is not in our solar system. It is orbiting a black hole named Janus. It experiences ash storm events, which destroys things outside. It transits the sky. It provides a lot of solar power. A lot of solar power. It's about 2.5 times the amount on the moon. It's quite hot, between 127 and 1452 Celsius. Yes, that's right, 1452 Celsius. And its pressure is somewhere between about a quarter of Earth to about 1 Earth atmosphere. On Stationeer difficulty, I can't eat or drink with my helmet on, and like everything is ramped up to like 1.5, 2, or higher, as you can see right there. All right, of course, to make matters worse, normally when you start on Vulcan, you have all of these lovely things. A lander full of, water and liquid nitrogen and construction supplies. Nope, sorry, no. That's not what we're starting with. We're starting with minimum supplies, which is some iron frames, iron sheets, an active vent, potato seeds, some basic solar power and production, a cereal box, a water bottle, an insulated canister package of water, an oxygen tank, and then inside the lander capsule is water and cereal, which I'm going to need to pull out of there in the first week because the lander will get destroyed by ash storms. Another really important aspect of Vulcan, just big picture here, there are no ices on Vulcan. There's no such thing as oxite. There's no such thing as frozen water. So Vulcan, quite literally, has no water and no oxygen. There is no oxygen on this planet at all. So as you can see, I am going to need to very quickly manage a large greenhouse where potatoes convert carbon dioxide into oxygen, or I die. There's not a lot of room for error, which means this is going to be like a sprint and a marathon sprint where I just keep sprinting and sprinting and sprinting. I might not make it. I really don't know. But there's one other thing that I want to say before I start. When I'm coming down in the lander pad, I'm going to be mashing a button as fast as I can. What that button does is it's lowering my suit's pressure. Default pressure is like about an atmosphere, and I'm going to be lowering it to about 40%. And that's so that I can conserve oxygen and not go through my oxygen tanks as quickly. All right, screw it. Let's go. Oh boy. So the first goal I have is to make a place where I can eat and drink. Easier said than done in a planet trying to kill you. All right. My internal pressure is 70, 60, 50, 40. There it goes. Okay, here we are. That's Janus. I'm on Vulcan. And let's get going. I'm going to grab the frames, and I am going to lay out some basic frames here. A little platform for me to stand on, where the airlock will go, where my breathing hole is going to be, and then a few more platforms for me to stand on, and done. That's every single frame accounted for. All right, drag that off. Time to start smelting. These do not need to be airtight. In fact, it's probably going to be a long time until I pressurize the base. So airtightness is not really a concern, but I'm going to weld these as if it matters anyway. Oh, you know, I'm going to lower the volume just a little bit. If you're wondering, I am piping in music because Stationeers does not have a soundtrack of its own. It has a few songs that plays, but not during normal gameplay. And you can see the song that is currently playing above my head in the playlist. So I have this little 2x3 area. Done. And it's starting to get dark. Now, the good thing about being dark is my suit won't struggle as much to keep me alive. The bad thing about darkness is, well, it's going to be hard as hell to figure out where the hell I am. All right. Now I'm going to set up some very basic power grid. Because I want to start smelting and manufacturing, like, immediately. So we have an area power controller with a battery. This thing, I was just going to put here for later. I'm not going to be using it at the moment. All right. Next up, we are going to want an auto lathe and an arc furnace. All right, so that's the stuff for the arc furnace, and the arc furnace rather is going to come here. I'll plop it here. Oh, nope, that's backwards. Let's try that again. Done. All right, and then the auto lathe, I am going to place here, smelting it in, cable coils, plastic sheets, little screwdriver, done. Let's wire it all up, and then I'm going to start hunting for ores. So this is the intake cable, which should lead out to the solar power panel. Solar is very powerful on Vulcan, so it's going to be very useful for me to tap into solar. There are ash storms, though, so at some point I'm going to have to come up with a system to mitigate the ash storms. All right, then the power comes out of here. I'm going to have this split like, oops, like that. And feed back to the arc furnace. Alright, let's start arcing. Switching the belts. Grabbing my mining tool, and we are looking for iron, which there happens to be some right here. Fine. I'm going to want to get maybe like 100 iron. But a stack of 50 to start is fine. Pull the master switch and start smelting. Before I leave, I am going to point the... oops, that's not what I meant to do. I'm going to point my solar panels to the horizon, where the sun's going to come up in just a second. Have I trained for this part? Of course. You would die so quickly if you didn't. There is, as I was saying, virtually no room for error. So sunrise is about 270. Oh, this is pointed. I'll do this later. Okay, let's keep mining. I want copper and gold. Because I need to build a place for me to breathe, and I am going to want some piping, which means I am going to want some a pipe bender. If I don't get a pipe bender, I am dead. Here's some copper and some gold. Perfect. Now, there is a little danger with gold. When you smelt gold, it does outgas some oxygen. And the atmosphere of Vulcan is carbon dioxide, pollutants, and volatiles, which is like hydrogen. AKA the exhaust gas of smelting gold is explosive. So you probably don't want an arc furnace inside, or you will cook yourself. The other thing is the batteries are going to run down. That's okay, I'll just swap stuff in. Alright, so let's go ahead and get the printer going for a pipe bender unit. And also for like 3 more frames. So I'll build 3 iron frames. Because my initial little platform is going to be 3x3, and I'll excavate it later. Every second matters, so I'm not going to excavate it right now. And then I want some iron sheets. 6 of them. To weld them airtight. Now, the pipe bender unit itself will take 2 iron sheets to make. It will also take plastic and cables. So I'll have to keep that in mind. So let's build 2 more sheets right now. Cool. Alright, battery died. So, angle grinder time. And there's the gold we've got so far. Alright, pipe bender. I already have the gold, so let's get the copper. And I have a moment, so I'll flatten it out so we can not have the soil poking through our floors. Okay, sun's coming up, or rather black hole is coming up, I guess, technically speaking. And I'm going to be pointing the solar power panel at it. So we can capture some wattage. So that we don't wear out all of our batteries, because that would be a real problem. Injecting some copper and getting that pipe bender going. Hydraulic pipe bender's on its way, and I just need to make sure that my batteries don't brown out in the process. But if they're blinking blue and green, it means I'm in a net positive power situation. I can angle it a little bit better. Trying to get that efficiency up with my wrench. Alright, getting about 600 watts. Cool. We did flatline some batteries, so I'm going to swap them around and fill them back up. Because for now, I don't have a kit battery. That requires steel. So until I get a kit battery, I'm going to need to be juggling my power in some strange ways. Okay, so that's charging up. And this is 29%. Alright, whoops. That's not what I meant to do. Let's go ahead and switch the belts again and get some more raw resources. Now that I can actually see what I'm doing. Ooh, good. We found silver close by. I'm going to need silver pretty early on. Silver is required for electrum, and electrum is required for grow light. And if I want to make potatoes, I'm going to want to grow light, so I can control the amount of light exposed to the potatoes. Controlling all the variables so I get maximum output at maximum time. Going to be a little important unless I want to die. Because I'm basically going to be breathing potato farts once I run out of my oxygen tanks. Speaking of oxygen tanks, my tanks are going to fill up pretty soon. And once they fill up, I'm going to need to print up replacements. So that's another reason for a pipe bender is the first thing. Normally when you play, you would build an electronics printer first. But in this scenario, it's really pipe bender or bust. And I don't want to go bust, so pipe bender it is. Alright, that battery is nice and full. Let's fill up this one, and then I can start filling up my suit. We're at 73%. Alright, let's go ahead and do more copper. Because I'm also going to need to run cables. The pipe bender unit is going to go here-ish. And the auto lathe sucks at making cables, but it can make cables, so cables it shall make. Alright, 96% efficiency, that's pretty good. And we'll just have the solar power panel just keep following the horizon, following the light source. Alright, 97%, almost done. Cool. Make a door. Only make one. Alright. Putting the pipe bender unit in. Now, I haven't smelted, I haven't smelted, silicon yet. So that's going to be the next thing that has to go through. Unfortunately, this thing just ate my, my iron sheet, but that's fine. I'll let it have it. Let's put some silicon through the system. I don't need a lot of it, I just need enough for 2 plastic sheets. Cable coils take a while to print, so I'll start cooking them up now. All right, next, do more iron. And 2 plastic sheets, please. Back to cable coils. Oh, I need 4 cable coils for this next build. Done. And then the last phase is welding out, well, second to last phase is welding plastic, and then screwdriver, and then this is done. Okay, there's our pipe bender. Double door. Thank you for the resub. Alright, now that we have a pipe bender, I can grab that metal sheet that got slipped in there. And print that, or rather weld that to the door here. Cool. Done. Actually, we only needed the one. That's fine. Not everything is fully welded, obviously. Alright, so the next thing, because I'm getting thirsty, is I am going to want some pipes. I feel like it's too quiet now. I'm going to want some pipes, and I'm going to want an active, one active vent.
Power low.
Low power, no problem.
Power critical.
Oh, that doesn't help.
Oxygen low. Temperature high. Temperature critical. Oxygen critical.
I'm fine. Alright, active vent. So you start off... Oh, I don't have enough iron. You start off with an active vent. I'm going to need 2 for this basic breathing setup. Only make one of them. Let's grab the other one. So I'm going to put an active vent here. And an active vent here. Then I'm going to want pipes. I can't afford insulated pipes. So I'll have to upgrade some of this to insulation later on. You'll see where and why and what. So I'm going to put 2 pipes here, 1 and, oops, 2 as internal storage, and then 1 more pipe and a passive vent.
Waste tank caution.
Oh, waste tank caution, that's not a good sign. This is not pointing enough at the sun anymore. Good enough. Alright, canister. Print, because I suffocate if I don't get that done. And swap my waste tanks out. So this old canister here, I will store for now, because it has a lot of oxygen in it, and I don't want to lose that. Alright, passive vent. So what I need for this system is some cables, a passive vent, and a 1 pipe. Passive vent there. Right, 1 more pipe. I'm also going to want some extra canisters. I'll do another canister now. Might as well. Only make 1 of them. And then the smelting got interrupted because of power brownout. All right, let's go ahead and smelt copper. All right, this here is my spare oxygen, which I'm going to stick in this tank and bring this tank into this cubbyhole. Is there a way to do airlocks without tying doors to the system? Yes, manually. Alright, I need cables. So I need to run a cable from here into the airlock. Like that. And then also to power this up too. Almost there. 20% hydration.
Critical.
Hydration is critical. No problem. Alright, you keep making... actually, let's point the... panels. Good enough. Good enough, good enough. Okay, you keep printing cables. I hop in here. And what I'm going to do is suck all the air out of the room. So this room becomes vacuum. Copy that, is vacuum. Turn off the vent. I am going to then rotate this a little bit. No, the other way. I'm going to leak in some oxygen into the room. About 25 kPa or so. Anything more than 20 is enough to breathe on. Turning it off. Then... unlock my helmet, open my helmet, and I am breathing. So eat a little granola bar, cereal bar, whatever it is. Drink a little water. Put everything back. Shut the helmet. Set this inward. Suck all of this oxygen into this pipe. And turn it off. So now, my oxygen is stored in here. And go back outside. Done. Okay. I have officially made myself a place to eat and drink. Now, there is an error with it. There is a problem with it. And the problem is the ambient heat of this planet is going to heat up that oxygen and make it too dangerous to breathe. So what I want to do next is to make steel. So I'm going to update my priority. Make steel for a kit, battery, and insulation. Or insulat, because, you know, character limit. Okay, so that's my new task. Because if I can make insulation and add it to those pipes, then that oxygen will be temperature stable. Alright, so the next project is the furnace. And I need 30 iron for it. No problem, I have 81. Done. That's going to take a while, and what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to manage my power level. But it's about to be sundown. Or, whatever, star down. I don't know. Black hole down. So, for the furnace, we're gonna, so, when you use a furnace, oh, it's doing that thing again, where, like, there's a line. Let me see if I could fix that. Okay, so normally when you use a furnace, you're melting, like, essentially ices of oxygen and ices of hydrogen and, like, making a kaboom, right? There is no oxygen or hydrogen in the... I mean, there's a hydrogen in the atmosphere, but there's no oxygen to do that. It would be a massive waste of oxygen to do that. I'm going to suffocate. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pipe in ambient air from the atmosphere to make steel. Alright, looks like we're nearly in a power negative situation here. Yeah, that's going to be the next goal. Make a furnace, and then add active vents to pipe in, atmosphere to melt whatever we need melted. So about that, ores. If you are trying to melt things like copper, gold, and silver, copper, gold, and silver, I think, is it in the furnace? Yeah. So copper is like, melts at 327 Celsius. It gets up to about 680 on this planet. So copper, gold, and silver melt pretty easily in a furnace on Vulcan. Silicon and steel melt at a higher temperature. So silicon will go down at 627, which is like high noon on Vulcan. So it is possible to process silicon in your furnace with just using vulcanized air. See what I did there? And then same with steel. Steel is the same temperature, 627. So what I want to do is I want to prep a batch of steel to be made tomorrow, now, if I can. Which means getting a furnace, getting active vents, and some piping. Before I forget, let's go ahead and grab the lander cans, water, and food, because without that, I'm doomed. The storms will destroy solar panels, will destroy wind turbines, will destroy supply boxes, will destroy the lander can. So you shouldn't leave that stuff outside, because it will get nuked. And once it's nuked, you don't get it back, and you're probably going to die. Alright, now that's a little cooler. Oh, air tank low. I already have contingency for that. Swap in the tanks. Come on, hitbox. God damn you. one furnace, please. I think that's facing me. Yep. And then for this, I need 3 more iron sheets. Because I had a 4th over there. So that is a wrench. And then a welder. Done. Now, I'm going to need a whole lot of pipes. And I am not going to be smelting on my arc furnace until I have a better source of power. So 2 active vents and then some pipes. And I have 15 cables, so that might be enough. All right. The power line behind the vents is the active line feeding from the solar power panel, so I don't want to tap into that. I don't know how many of these I'm going to need. I'm sure it will be more than 7. Battery, let's see. What are we going to do? Tablet. Once I have steel, I can make a kit battery and have to gamify the battery system, stabilizing my power. Probably pairing that with like maybe 2 more solar panels. But that's that can come a little bit later. That's not as urgent as everything else. All right, this is the input. And this is the output. So I need 1, 2, 3 more pipes. Oh, 2. No, I counted right. I'm trying to use my jet suit sparingly. Okay, now that that's done, I'm gonna set this one to inward. And it's filling with, like, cold gas, because it's cold at night. Well, cold is relative, I suppose. So let's go ahead and get what we need in order to make steel. So we're gonna want I'm gonna do a batch of 200. So 150 iron and 50 coal. I know I'm not running around with a portable light. It's because I can't afford it power-wise. I will, as soon as I'm able, I'll go for it, because I know for viewer visibility, it's very, very nice. It just would break the bank if I did it right now. I am going to want silicon, so it's good to know that there's silicon back here. I'll have to remember. Because silicon is the main component for glass, plastic, and insulation. Steel and silicon is like insulation. And we're going to need a whole lot of insulation. Alright, so there's the iron, or the coal. Now I need iron. This will work. It's a little sketchy. It's also another important thing to note is Vulcan, if you dig down enough, it's like lava. So just don't do that. Like, unless you're in a harm suit, which is like the heavy duty suit, you'll like melt yourself and you'll die. So don't dig too deep. Like a diggy diggy dwarf, you'll diggy diggy die. Well, let's find. Oh, let's find a new. Oh, here we go. It's not too hard to find ores on Vulcan, at least. It is very ore laden. Yeah, you can kind of see as I dig, like, cracks of the nether below it, right? Peeking in. The other thing I'm probably going to want is, like, copper, but I'm going to prep the steel first. Copper only because, oh, God. When I'm going to make a kit battery and other solar power panels, copper is a considerable, quantifiable ingredient for it. Okie dokie. So, the ores are processing only a little bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pipe in just a little bit of warmer air to process the ores. And then I'm going to vent out all the air so that when noon comes, I can then vent in the hot, hot, hot noon air and manage to make steel. So right now, it's just about priming the furnace. Oh, also... There we go. That should be pointing roughly at it. Priming the furnace for steel making. So all the iron's been, like, melted. Not formed into an alloy, but there we go. So now that that's done, I'm going to vent out it, because it's full of pressurized cold gas, and I don't want to... It's best if I don't have to, you know, fix the whole, like, it's cold gas. And let's get back to min-maxing this bad boy. Okay. Getting about 500 watts off of that, that's fine. In fact, let's top up our suit. So this doesn't need to go to 0, but like 100 kPa is fine. Basically, you want to just, like, exhaust all of the gas in there so that when it's hot, the hot air that I'm piping in doesn't have to equalize with the gas that's already in there. Therefore, it gets to temperature for steel making much, 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 much faster. So that's good enough. Okay, next printing project would be electronics printer. So that's iron, gold, and copper. Because once I have an electronics printer, I can automate sun tracking. Which is, gonna be really nice. I did mention likely needing more copper for all of the kit battery and the like that I'm gonna want to make. And then I'm also going to want more silicon, too, for all the insulation I'm going to need. So I'll get a little bit of silicon and copper. And because when I'm just going to keep calling it the sun. I know it's not the sun. It's Janus. But once the sun's up, I can do higher power activities. You know, because I don't have anywhere else to put the batteries. So I might as well just, like, do inefficient arc furnacing if the regular furnace is busy. And as soon as you see right here, well, okay, I can't show you, but right there, when the ambient temperature is above 627, that's when it's time to cook up some steel. All right, 55%. Let's repoint this thing. Ooh, I almost hit 100%. 99. It was pretty close to 99. It doesn't really matter. My suit battery is basically, yeah, 97% full. Cool. Alright, we're at 550 ambient. Where is copper? There's some right there. I'm kind of babysitting this, though. Do I have it? Okay. Two iron sheets, two plastic sheets.
Waste tank caution.
And it seems like I'm going to need another waste tank soon. I'm going to go through a lot of them. Is Astorm a random event? It is, but it won't happen in, I think, the first week. It gives you, like, a grace period, because otherwise you just die. Something like that. I know there's, like, a pseudo-grace period. Alright, I need a waste tank. So, move my iron in there. I'm gonna end up with a lot of spare waste tanks. Because what's happening is the oxygen in my air tank is being used also as an air conditioning. So it's flooding the waste tanks with oxygen as a result. So if I take a look at the waste tanks, this is 71% oxygen, which is why I'm not discarding it. Because, you know, I need oxygen. I breathe that stuff. So yeah. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers Vulcan, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow astronauts.